Sanditiko, Akaliko, Ehipasiko, Opaniko, Pachatang Veditambo, Vinyohiti. Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho, Ujupatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho, Nyayapatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho, Sami Chipatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho, Yadidang Chattari Purisa Yugani Atta Purisa Puggala Eka Bhagavato Savaka Sangho, Ahunayo, Pahunayo, Dakshinayo, Anjali Karaniyo, Anuttarang Punya Khetang Lokasati. Beautiful. So this is the traditional way in which we start any teaching in the Buddhist tradition. And my intention today is just to share one of my favorite sutras, which is the Bhaddekaratta Sutta. This is a very interesting sutta because it appears 4 times in the canon, in the Pali canon. And the intention is for me to read it, and then we'll practice based on the sutta. One second. See how I can request it to make this full screen. Can you hear me? All right. Let me continue with what I wanted to share. So I'd like to share the sutta called Bhaddekaratta Sutta. This is a sutta to listen to authentic Buddhist teaching. Often we get interpretations from the from this beautiful sutta. It's called Bhaddekaratta Sutta. I heard vision the Buddha was living thoughts. Let me get the audio clearer. Better? All right. Able to see but not hear. Is it, you can hear? Okay, good. Let's start. So, this is called the Bhaddekaratta Sutta. Let me continue with the sutta. On one occasion, the Buddha was living in Savatthi, in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindaka's park. There he addressed the monks thus: Venerable Sir, monks, he said, and Venerable Sir, they replied. The Buddha said this: I shall teach you the summary and exposition of one who has had a single excellent day. Listen and attend closely to what I say. Yes, Venerable Sir, the monks replied. And the Buddha said this: let not a person revive the past, nor on the future build their hopes. For the past has been left behind, and the future has not yet come. Let not a person revive the past, nor on the future build their hopes. For the past has been left behind, and the future has not yet come. Instead, with insight, let them see each presently arisen state. Let him know that and be sure of it, invincibly, unshakably. Today the effort must be made. Tomorrow death may come. Who knows? No bargain with mortality can keep him and his hordes away. But one who dwells thus ardently, relentlessly, by day and night, it is he, the peaceful sage has said, one who has had a single auspicious day. Now, monks, how does one revive the past? One nurtures delight there, thinking, I had such a physical form in the past. Physical form means body. I had such a body in the past. One nurtures delight there, thinking, I had such feelings in the past. I had such memories or perceptions in the past. I had such intentions in the past. I had such consciousness in the past. That is how one revives the past. So by looking back in the past and thinking of what my body was like, my feelings were like, my memories, intention, and consciousness was like, this is how one revives the past. And how, monks, does one not revive the past? One does not nurture delight there, thinking, I had such physical form in the past. I had such feelings in the past. I had such memories or perceptions in the past. I had some intentions in the past. I had such consciousness in the past. And this is how one does not revive the past. And how, monks, does one build up hope upon the future? One nurtures delight here, thinking, may I have such physical form in the future? May I have such feelings in the future? May I have such intentions in the future, such perceptions in the future, such consciousness in the future? So nurturing delight, thinking, may my body be like this, my feelings be like this, and so on. And how, monks, does one not build up hope upon the future? One does not nurture delight there, thinking, may I have such a physical form in the future? May I have such feelings in the future? May I have such perceptions, such intentions, and such consciousness in the future? This is how one does not revive the future. And how, monks, is one defeated with regards to presently arisen states? Here, monks, an untaught ordinary person who has no regard for noble ones and is unskilled and undisciplined regards physical form as self, or self as possessed of physical form, or physical form as in self, or self as in physical form. He regards feeling as self, perceptions as self, intentions as self, consciousness as self, or self as possessed of consciousness, consciousness as in self, or self as in consciousness. This is how one is vanquished in regard to presently arisen states. So what we did was we looked at all of these 5 dimensions: physical form, feelings, perceptions, intentions, and consciousness, and looking at it in any way as having self, as being self, or self being in it. This is how one is defeated in the present moment, the Buddha says. And how, monks, is one invincible in regard to presently arisen states? Here, monks, a well-taught noble disciple, one who has regard for noble ones, is skilled and disciplined, does not regard physical form as self, or self as possessing physical form, or physical form as in self, or self as in physical form. He does not regard in the same way feelings, perceptions, intentions, and consciousness as self. And this is how one is invincible with regard to presently arisen states. And then the Buddha repeats the verses he said earlier, and he goes like this: let not a person revive the past, or on the future build their hopes. For the past has been left behind, and the future has not yet come. Instead, with insight, let them see each presently arisen state. Let him know that and be sure of it, invincibly, unshakably. Today the effort must be made. For tomorrow death may come, who knows? No bargain with mortality can keep him and his hordes away. But one who dwells thus ardently, relentlessly, by day and night, it is he, the peaceful sage has said, one who has had a single auspicious day. It is with reference to this that it was said, bhikkhus means monks, that I shall teach you the summary and exposition of one who has had a single auspicious day. And that is what the Buddha said. The monks were satisfied and delighted in the Buddha's words. And that's the end of the sutta. It's called the Bhaddekarata Sutta, a single excellent day or a single excellent night or a single auspicious night. This comes in the collection of sutras called the middle-length discourses of the Buddha, also called the Majjhima Nikaya. And it's interesting, the sutta is repeated 4 times. And that just shows how important the sutta is, like the essence of the essence. It's like the juice of the juice. That's how important the sutta is. And now I'd like to go a little bit deeper experientially. So let us now do a little meditation together, small guided meditation. So wherever you are, just sit comfortably, keep a nice straight back. And if you like, slowly close your eyes. And I'm going to guide you through exploring these 5 aspects of our experience, which we tend to hold as I, me, and mine: our body, feelings, perceptions, intentions, and consciousness. We'll just explore all of them with insight, the way the Buddha would like us to. So go ahead, close your eyes, sit comfortably. And bring your awareness to your breathing. Notice as the breath flows in. Notice as the breath flows out. Perhaps even hear the sound of your breath flowing in. See if you can hear the sound of the breath flowing out. And most importantly, feel the breath flowing in. Feel the breath flowing out. And become aware of the posture of your body. The nice straight back. And I'd like you to shift your perception from this is my breath, this is my body, to simply breath, to simply body. So there is a body. We don't need to add to it my body. Simply body. Or we could say physical form. Bring your awareness to physical form. Breath is naturally flowing in and out. And notice that physical form, there's constant change happening. The breath is flowing in, the breath is flowing out. The belly might be rising and falling. Aware of change at the level of physical form. And now bring your awareness to the feeling throughout the body. Notice what you're feeling inside the body. Could be pleasant, could be unpleasant, could be neutral, could be warm or cold, could be throbbing or pulsing. Something you're directly experiencing in the present. And now shift from these are my feelings to simply feeling. Almost as though you're witnessing somebody else's feeling. And notice very carefully how feelings arising and passing away by themselves. Throughout the body, whatever you're feeling, if you notice very carefully, they're arising and passing away by themselves. And now bring your awareness to thoughts, especially any kind of memory, any kind of perception. For example, the perception of who you are and where you are and what is going on right now. Just notice thoughts that have to do with the past, that have to do with defining who you are, what you are. These are called perceptions. And to be attentive of these kinds of thoughts. And thoughts arise and pass away. Attentive to these thoughts, these perceptions. A good analogy is like a doorman at a hotel. The doorman enters, allows the guests to enter, but does not follow them in. So like this, don't follow thoughts. Just be attentive to these thoughts. Do your best to observe them. And shift from, these are my thoughts, to simply thoughts. Memory, perception. And now let us shift to the fourth dimension of our experience, which is intention. And intention has to do with thoughts that impel us towards action, towards some plan, something to do with the future. So notice these kinds of thoughts now. Any kind of intention. The intention to practice well right now. The intention to make the most of this, to understand this. Any intention that's arising in this moment, just notice it. And shift from, this is my intention, to simply intention. And notice how it's arising and passing away by itself. If at any time this is very hard to do, you can just go back to your natural breath, and that's fine. Just do the best you can to be present with your current experience. There is physical form, there are feelings, there are memories, and there are intentions. And now we come to the most subtle aspect of our experience, consciousness itself. In order to hear what is being said, there has to be consciousness. In order to see or feel, there has to be consciousness. So now we're becoming conscious that something is conscious. We are becoming aware that something is aware. Aware of awareness, conscious of consciousness. And now we make a beautiful shift from thinking, I am conscious, to simply, there is consciousness. It's something that we've perhaps never done in our life. Objectively experiencing this consciousness. So there is body, there are feelings, there are memories, there is intention, there is consciousness. And all these five are arising and passing away by themselves. And this is what it means to experience this moment with insight, unshakably, invincibly, not adding a self where there is just a flow of experience. Just be quiet for a bit. Let go of all practices. Just be. And we'll end with the lines of the Buddha again from the Bhaddekaratta Sutta. Let not a person revive the past or on the future build their hopes. For the past has been left behind and the future has not yet come. Instead, with insight, let them see each presently arisen state. Let him know that and be sure of it, invincibly, unshakably. Today the effort must be made. Tomorrow death may come, who knows? No bargain with mortality can keep him and his hordes away. But one who dwells thus ardently, relentlessly, by day and by night, it is he, the peaceful sage has said, one who has had a single auspicious day. And with this, we can all take a slow, deep breath. And if you like, you can rub your hands, make them nice and warm. Rub your hands, make them nice and warm. And bring them over your eyes. Bring them over your face. And whenever you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. All right, so we had a chance to explore some teachings. Bhaddekaratta Sutta. We also practiced some meditation based on the Bhaddekaratta Sutta, which is an invitation for us to be really present. And I think this is what's something that's really unique about the Buddha's teaching. This is about not just conceptual understanding or a belief system. It's about directly exploring our experience. So the Buddha says that suffering arises because we hold on to five things. We grab onto five things. What are the five things? Body, feelings, memories, intentions, and consciousness. And because we attach to these five things, because we hold on to these five things, that's the cause of our suffering. He summarizes his entire teachings as the upadana, which means the attachment, the holding on to, the stickiness, the identification with these five aspects of our experience. So the way to liberation then is to directly explore and experience each of these five and understand their nature with insight. Their nature is one of constant change, constant flux, constant flow. The nature is if you hold on to them, they inevitably create suffering because they change. And if you hold on to them in any way, liking or disliking, they tend to disappoint us. And finally, their nature is one of being impersonal. So allowing them to arise and pass away in their own way without attaching a sense of self to them. As we practice in this way, naturally, this practice almost comes alive in us. It's not even like we are practicing, the practice is practicing. It's not even that we are doing it, the doing is doing itself. And there's a kind of freedom that arises right in the midst of this experience of life. And I've been very blessed to have really, for many years, come back to this sutra, these teachings of the Buddha, and recollected. For me, it's really like the essence of a lot that we practiced. Somebody's asking me to repeat the 5 aspects of our experience. I'll put up the slides for that as well. Physical form, which is body, and feelings, and perceptions, also known as memories, intentions, and consciousness. These are the 5 dimensions of our experience. And the Buddha is inviting us to explore this. And so this has been a very central part of my practice. It continues to be. And this is something I wanted to share today on the occasion of Buddha Purnima. The time that we have left, I'd like to open up for any questions. I'll do my best to answer them. So go ahead and just type them down, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. Very nice. So one beautiful question from Neha from Indore. Buddha speaks of not reviving the future. How does the power of intention fit in here? Very nice. So I think the main point is not to get obsessed with it. So we can, for example, even if I have to plan a webinar, I do have to have a sense of the future. I can't plan a webinar without that. But do I get attached to it? Do I get all hung up about it? So for example, today we noticed almost for 20, 25 minutes, we had a challenge with the webinar. You were not able to hear me. And perhaps some people still can't hear me. Now, to the extent I'm attached to that future, I'm going to suffer. But to the extent I'm just doing my best and trying all the various things I can to get the webinar going, I'm quite peacefully going about it. It's only my attachment to the future that gets where the suffering arises from. So by not reviving the future, what he's saying is, let them not build their hopes on it. Let them not build their delight on it. Let them not get obsessed with it. So what I like to say is, instead of doing things for happiness, we do things from happiness. Which means that whatever delight you're expecting in the future, can you allow yourself to experience that right now? And to that extent, the future does not grab you. You're not dependent on it to that extent. So we are fully feeling that right now. And also we find that the more present we are, our intentions start to, it's almost like we're not intending anymore. It's like life is intending through us. It's very interesting how that happens. It's not like we are making intentions, my intention. It's like the intention is making the intention. So that's what I can offer to you. I would just say become aware of intention. And the power of intention, a lot of people talk about this. You always remember the power of intention has a lot to do with letting go. You have an intention and then you let it go. This is already, you talk about the secret of the law of attraction. You have an intention, but then you let it go. That's really important. And little by little, the intention shifts from how can I be happy? How can I get what I want? And the intention shifts to how can I serve? How can I take my talents, my gifts, and use them for the maximum benefit of all? With that intention, we're not so hung up anymore. So the suffering goes away, and now compassion rules the day. And so that's what I'd like to respond to you, Neha, for your question. Another question. Let's see what we have. I was there till intention, and then I went to sleep. How wonderful. Enjoy sleep. We say that meditation is conscious sleep, and sleep is unconscious meditation. So that's all right. No problem. And attachment to consciousness. How are we attached to consciousness? We attach to consciousness by looking at it as my consciousness. We identify consciousness as mine. So seeing, eye consciousness, hearing, ear consciousness, smelling, tasting, touching. And we add an I to it, when actually it's just consciousness. And consciousness began with birth, right? And perhaps it will end with death. And what goes beyond that, we don't know. And it could be a further attachment to another body and further birth and life and death. But it is the clinging, it is the upadana, it is the attachment to this consciousness as I, me, and mine, that the Buddha says, this is the thread that keeps us going lifetime after lifetime. Can we begin to see this consciousness also as just, it's an impersonal event. It's just, in fact, one of my teachers, Nithya Maharaj, he says, he calls consciousness this chemical. He says it's a chemical. It's just a combination of various factors come together, and then you have this experience of consciousness. So I like this way of looking at it as also impersonal. And then we don't attach to it. We don't attach to states of consciousness. So then Ashwini is asking, when you say shift from my intention to only intention, what tools, analogy can help us? Well, I would just say notice how throughout your life intentions keep changing. You may have an intention at a certain time in your life, you made an intention. And at some point the intention changes. So you see how if it really was your intention, then you should be able to keep that intention. But it changes, it morphs. It seems to have a life of its own. Also, how many of these intentions are our own intentions? How many of them have we picked up from parents or friends or society? We see what other people are doing. As social creatures, we see what other people are doing, and that influences our own intention. I saw that other people are offering webinars, so I think even I should also offer a webinar now, right? So that becomes my intention. Is it really my intention, or is it conditioned by a variety of factors in my experience? So like this, we start noticing that these intentions also are just an aspect of our experience, not my intention, just intention. What is the question here? There seems to be a breakdown. Gauri is asking, there seems to be a breakdown to experience what is called samadhi. There seems to be a breakdown to experience what is samadhi. Is that right? I haven't fully understood your question, Gauri. If you can type it in again, and I'll come back to it. I'm not sure what you mean by breakdown. Are you meaning an emotional breakdown? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Let me see what else is it. Is it okay to have an intention as long as you're not attached to the results? It is okay to have any intention. I mean, everything is okay, all our experiences are okay. But if you do attach to it, chances are you're going to suffer. Because if that intention doesn't come true, in fact, I define expectation like that. When you have a desire that's held very tightly, that's called expectation. When you have a desire that's held lightly, that's called intention. That's the way I use those words. How does someone close to you who dies become past to be forgotten? I wouldn't say it is past to be forgotten. It is just you will remember them from time to time, and that's an aspect of memory. That's an aspect of perception. It's one of the 5 aggregates. Now, to the extent we cling to that and we say, oh, that used to be and I want it again, it shouldn't, why has this person left my life? That's what creates suffering. But to notice it, and like a photo album, can we keep the best photos on the cover of the album? So when you think of someone who's passed away, can we go back and recollect their good qualities, recollect the good times we've had with them? And that's the most skillful way of reviving the past, but without holding on to it, without getting too obsessed with it. So yes, that thought will come up, and we feel that feeling now, and again, we let it go. So again, the whole point is not to cling on to it so tightly, not to hold on to it so tightly. That's what I would say about that. Gauri is asking again, I meant the way you took a step-by-step process of experience towards samadhi. Again, samadhi is a state of connection, of union, of being one with. And it starts with Khanika Samadhi, which is, momentary consciousness being settled. And little by little, it gets more established. It becomes Upachara, which is access consciousness, access Samadhi. And finally, Upachara, or we say Arpana Samadhi, which means you totally become one with that. So yes, in a way, it was a step-by-step process. And you can do this by yourself, becoming aware of the body, becoming aware of feelings, becoming aware of perceptions, becoming aware of intentions, and becoming aware of consciousness. If the latter 3 are more subtle, just start with the first 2. Start with awareness of body and start with awareness of feelings. In fact, if you just practice that for a long time, be aware of breath, be aware of body postures throughout the day, be aware of the feelings you're having throughout the day. Just like this, you'll start finding the latter 3 as well, thoughts of past and future and consciousness start becoming more clear and more evident for you. So I think that brings us to the end of our time. And I hope I've answered at least some of your questions. And a lot of wonderful comments coming in. Thank you so much. And, let's continue our discussion. I'm happy to open a thread on Facebook, and we can continue asking questions there. And you can share some of your experiences. I apologize for some of the challenges on this webinar. My first experience, so please forgive me. And it's Buddha Purnima, so it's the time for us to really reflect on all the blessings. I mean, today my wife Esther was reminding me how blessed she's feeling that the Buddha arose, because from that, some of her favorite teachers, Thich Nhat Hanh and Dogen Zenji, and then towards the end, I was happy to say also, Nithya, you also came out of that, so she was very thankful. So I was feeling very good about that. So it's a day of gratitude. Thank you so much for being with me. And I look forward to having more such experiences as I get better with this format, and we can continue learning together. So thank you so much. Good night. All the best.